Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to No Place Like Homaha. I am your host, JD Wonder, alongside Nick Hendricks. Unfortunately, Mikey Love is not hopping on the mics tonight. But yeah, we gotta the Ginger Ninja's not here. We gotta figure out something for him, some like a collar tag. I think the Ginger Ninja kind of works, but Daddy, Dr. Love,
Yeah, he's the
Daddy.
doctor, man. He's a love doctor. Come on now. That's how we known him for high school. Oregon State just put up a bomb, I think.
Did they?
Yeah.
Again, as we are recording this, the only game that is still happening is Auburn because we're recording this Monday night at 8:50.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But otherwise, an absolutely bizarre weekend.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Oh my goodness. I know the first game we definitely want to hit on is Notre Dame and Tennessee.
Oh, 100%.
Oh my goodness. Did you catch that entire series?
I caught a little bit of it, yes. And the one thing we talked about it last week too, because you mentioned it. Can Tennessee bleed? And we talked about it early as well, in the season. We're they can find a way to bleed. Anybody is beatable. But at this point, Notre Dame was not the team that I thought was going to be able to do it. And they've made it for the second time, I think, within the last decade to the College World Series now. And they won it 2-1 in Knoxville, which is also insane in itself. Because, you beat a Tennessee club that is absolutely outstanding. At home, they were just unbeatable. And you come in and you beat them as an unranked team who was top 25 all year.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Was competitive in the ACC. So, crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the moment that stood out to me the most was it was, I believe, 1-3, and Tennessee was up, and Notre Dame was up to bat, and a guy hits a 2-run shot, ties up the game. The crowd is dead silent. The energy's gone. Next at bat, guy hits a tank. 4-3.
Yeah.
Then Notre Dame just seemed to capitalize, and it just seemed like Knoxville was quiet.
Yeah, Knoxville was just it was unreal. Because, David Lamena tied the game with a home run, and then that just stormed through it. Mm-hmm. So, and think about it this way. Notre Dame was not supposed to be the team to upset Tennessee. Did they have the capability to? Absolutely, 100%. Every team had the opportunity to. But when you go up against the lineup who was the SEC Pitcher of the Year, you have just a bunch, 1 through 9, who's able to hit for power and hit it around the yard. You had Drew Gilbert as well on there. So, you're looking you had Jordan Beck. You're just looking absolutely just in the face of death right there, and they prevailed. It's crazy.
Yeah, I love also the T-shirts that they handed out. They had it said classless versus Catholics.
Oh gosh, I did see that.
So funny. But yeah, since Tennessee kind of owned up to being that kind of new school baseball where they were very much so a emotions of a team, all that kind of stuff, they seemed like they could carry momentum and all that kind of stuff, but yet it came down to it where Notre Dame kept a level head throughout that entire series.
Oh, yeah.
And Tennessee tended to ride the roller coaster, and then that's exactly what happened.
Well, and the thing also is you take a team like Tennessee who only coming into the NCAA tournament lost, I think, 7 games on the year. So you have a team that's not used to losing. You have a team that's very just very stout, very confident. And then you get 2 back-to-back weekends where somebody figures out how to punch them in the face, and you saw them stumble. Mm-hmm. Tennessee, within the last 2 games especially, just stumbled. Because in game 1, it was 8-6 Notre Dame. Then they came back with that high-powered offense, 12-4. And then you take a look at the second game, and it was late hitting for the Irish. And that was the one thing that I didn't say it last week, but that was the one thing that I thought of was unless you get Ben Joyce out of the pen, is Tennessee's bullpen still going to be as heavy as it was early in the year? And it still was, but at the same time, Notre Dame was just pounding away. Mm-hmm. So that's the one thing that really kind of came to my mind was how was Notre Dame going to be able to handle the back bullpen of Tennessee? And they did it just fine.
Yep, absolutely. Speaking of stumbling blocks, I'm going to turn it over to Texas and East Carolina. Man, oh man! I tell you what, watching that Friday game, I was like, okay. Even when they let Melendez in that middle part of their lineup still hit home runs, East
Oh
Carolina
yeah.
was able to produce enough to beat them. Then Saturday was just a heartbreaker, and then
Oh yeah.
Sunday Texas capitalized on it.
And that's another great lineup too. I mean, you have Ivan Melendez, you've got Faltini up there, who is also one of the best shortstop in college baseball at the moment, because they have Troy Tulowitzki, who's their infielders coach, which is absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
But no, Ivan Melendez, and he even hit another one yesterday. He broke 32 now, so he is the leader in home runs in a single season during the BB-Core era since Chris Bryant, who hit 31 back when he was with San Diego State. But yeah, Texas lost
Just
13.
San Diego. Just San Diego.
It was just San Diego. Yeah, you're right. But Texas lost game one or 13-7, and then 9-8, and then 9-8 they won on Saturday with a big game, and then 11-1, like you said, Josh, they capitalized.
Absolutely electric. Yeah, it was a matter of, I feel like for that East Carolina team, it was a matter of trying to limit the best they could with that Texas lineup, but it was more so if their bats could stay with them. And you could definitely see on the third day, it just seemed like they just hit the end of it.
Yeah, and like I said, when you add Hodo the third mixed into it as well, and then Faltini, Ivan Melendez, you have just a guy who's up for the Golden Spikes Award. He won College Baseball Player of the Year. He won Big 12 Player of the Year. He's hitting 400 on a season. Like, good Lord. Good Lord.
Yeah, it doesn't, not just for pop, but also just for average. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. But also Texas's pitching staff is very good too. On the 11-1 game, Treston Stevens, he went 6 innings pitched. He had 5 hits, 1 run, 5 strikeouts, and then the bullpen got it done for the rest of the game. East Carolina too. I did think that was going to be a very tough region, just because East Carolina is one of those teams. They've been here a couple of years. They're just missing the cusp every once in a while. And
every once in a while, they had a stat, and it was like they are like 20-something games above like the next component of being the team that makes it to the Super Regionals and then does not make it to the College World Series. Like they're
Coastal Carolina.
No. I'm telling you, like they have the longest streak. I'm gonna look it up real quick because Mikey talked about it last week that they were a choke artist. Shout out, Dr. Love.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, let's look at this.
Excuse me. But and I do think I was very just excited to see this region, because I knew that East Carolina, they can battle. They've been battling all year. They got that top 8 national seed. They were that 8th national seed, and then you get the 9th national seed in Texas. And what's funny enough, we talked about this, and we'll hit on the rest of the games while you're looking up at that stat. But yep. I found one that was, oh gosh, I'm going to find it. 62% or 66.2% of teams hosting the Super Regionals advanced to the College World Series. This year, it was less than that. East Carolina was a host, top 8, or they were the 8th national seed. Tennessee was a host. They were the number 1 national seed. North Carolina was a host. They were a 10 national seed. Texas A&M was a host. They were the 5 national seed, and they advanced. Ole Miss beat Southern Miss, and they moved into it. So looking here, you only have at the moment 3 national seeds, and only one of them was not a host in this Super Regional. And what Mikey sent us a text here. Hold on,
he sent us our bracket. Well, that's for later.
Oh, there you go.
That's for later. Yeah. So I found the stat. It's been 32 consecutive NCAA tournament appearances, and they have not qualified for the College World Series.
So they're still looking for their first one.
32 consecutive.
Oh, consecutive?
Yes.
Good Lord.
So they've made it to a regional or a super regional, 32 seasons, and it's, oh my goodness.
Well,
I don't know. It might not be consecutive, but still, 32 appearances. And it seems like they make a super regional, and
I was gonna say they've been in the supers at least a few of the last couple of years that I've been really paying attention as well, and just falling short. And I mean, I thought if anything, Texas was gonna fall short. They were riding that wave, and then they lost to Oklahoma in the Big 12 tournament, and then I figured that East Carolina was somehow tear them apart because we all talked about Texas being able to stumble, but so far they're a steamroller.
Yeah, but I mean, also that Oklahoma team is no joke either.
Oh my goodness. Oklahoma
They
looking to become the first team with their women's team to win a baseball and softball College World Series in the same year. Is it possible? At this point, at this
maybe.
point, anything is.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, with the number one seed getting knocked off the way they did, but like, let's be real, that Oklahoma softball team is the best,
Unreal.
arguably like one of the best college teams ever. Maybe even the best. I mean, 3 losses on the season, 3.
Mm-hmm. And they won their 13th or 14th title.
This year was back to back, and I don't know under that, but oh my goodness, like, and you have a lineup that they had was just absolutely bizarre. My sister sent me a stat from that game that she wanted to mention because she's always like softball, and I'm like, I'm all for it.
Well, I was gonna say Jocelyn Allen, or that's how you say it, right? Jocelyn Allen.
Yes.
She's the Division I softball home run leader. Man, she is a freaking stud.
She rakes, man. And it's crazy because they started like pitching around her. And it's not just that, but she still hit home runs, and then the rest of the lineup can hit home runs too. They also had so here's the stat. Jocelyn Allo, like we just mentioned, is the first in D1 history to have 30-plus home runs every single season. And
Unreal.
Oklahoma softball set the record for scoring 50 runs in the Women's College World Series.
Unreal.
And they had 6 home runs in their last game, setting a single-game record for the CWS. Like, what?
Not to mention, it was a Red River rivalry. Gosh, I can always say it when I'm not
Red River
on
Shootout.
a show. The Red River Shootout. Here's one thing. Wouldn't that be funny to just Oklahoma and Texas go into the College World Series? Because are they on the same side of the bracket?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Looking. I was like, yep, they are on the same side of the bracket. Okay. Son of a biscuit. Gosh dang it.
We were so close to having that.
I was like, yeah.
That would have been wild.
I would have been so excited. Oh my gosh. But yeah, Oklahoma's got Notre Dame. Texas is Texas A&M. But I mean, still though, taking a look at Oklahoma baseball though, real quick, you got they started out losing. They were 0 for 5 on Big 12 Conference series. They dropped their first 5. All of a sudden, they find their stride and pick it back up in the middle of the season. Let's see, where do they start here? I got to pick it.
I mean, that was very similar to a Texas A&M team this year that we were kind of talking about earlier.
Because they beat Kansas, they swept them, beat Kansas State, came back, beat TCU, who won the Big 12 regular season outright. They beat West Virginia, and then they took 3 games out of 4 against Texas Tech, and then that was how they closed out the year. So they won every single other series to close out the year, and then they come into the conference Big 12 Conference Championship and go 4-0 and beat Texas, who was on fire in the Big 12 tournament as well. And now you get through the Gainesville Regional, only losing 1 game to Florida, which is impressive in itself, who was another national seed. And then you come in facing number 4, Virginia Tech, who in Blacksburg is also a very, very tough team. And you outscore them. Just physically put it to them. 5-4 in game 1, 14-8 loss in game 2, and then 11-2 just blowing them out of the water to finish it all off in dogpile in Blacksburg. So Boomer Sooner making their way up here, buddy.
Did that hurt to say, or was it?
Yeah, it really did.
A little bit. Stung a little.
Considering the fact that I am once again wearing a Texas shirt, so Cronio Media will once again forever give me
horns
shit.
Down. We are always we are on the same page there. We agree that college baseball is awesome, and Texas horns down always. Like it's very common ground that we reach right away.
Well, I can't wear my Ole Miss shirt because it's a long sleeve and it's 90,000.
Oh, I agree.
Degrees here.
These guys are going to roll up. They're going to roll up this Thursday to start practices at Schwab and to be like, okay, why is it 100 degrees out here?
No. Send us back.
Speaking of Ole Miss, though, they didn't allow a single run.
Yeah.
They won 10-0 on Saturday and 5-0 on Sunday. Tim Elko came in clutch again in that first game.
Oh,
Man, he's a stud.
my stomach just absolutely vibrated. I don't know if you could hear that, but that scared the living shit out of me.
Are you hungry? You need a snacky?
No, I
Need a
already
snacky
ate.
snack?
Okay, oddly enough, so I've been on a big wild game kick and slow rabbit hole real fast. But so my boss gave my boss gave me and my coworker a bunch of like elk and stuff. But he went down to New Mexico and shot an oryx, and so he gave us like oryx brats. Holy shit! If you have not experienced this, go down to New Mexico and ask somebody to shoot one for you or shoot one because they are freaking fire.
I've never had that before.
It was interesting. I was like, I don't know how this is going to taste, and I'm not the biggest brat guy either, so it was just like, well, shit, here we go. But back to college baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, that was crazy just to see Southern Miss absolute goose egg. And Ole Miss, and like we talked about earlier, we're like, oh, Ole Miss shouldn't be in the tournament, yada yada yada, and obviously just getting proven wrong. Anything can happen.
Well, and everybody said that too, because Ole Miss had the rockiest schedule, I think, out of almost anybody that made the final cut to be in the NCAA tournament. Because I mean, they stumbled very hard just kind of throughout the season, but yet they went into they beat. Where am I looking here? I'm sorry, I'm like stumbling. They closed out the year against Missouri. Got that through. They beat Southern Miss during the regular season in Hattiesburg already, like 2 weeks prior to the regional tournament, and then swept LSU, lost to Texas A&M, come in, lose one game to Vanderbilt in the SEC tournament, and then go to Coral Gables in Miami and say, we're just going to tell everybody to suck it. 7-4 against Arizona, 2-1 against the number 6 national seed Miami, and then 22-6 to come all the way to the supers. And then they said, you know what? We will only allow 11 runs within the span of a month to get here. And that is exactly what they did. Pitching staff was absolutely insane for Ole Miss. Then offense led by Tim Elko and a bunch of other guys on that Ole Miss roster.
Tim Elko and a bunch of other guys.
Oh, yeah. Well, Tim Elko. And defensively,
he was
Tim
clutch.
Elko.
He was absolutely clutch. I mean, what did he have? He had a 3-homer game in that regional. And then that super, he started that scoring on the first game, I believe.
Yep. Third inning, he had a single over to the left side of the game, or over to the left side of the field. Brought the scoring up 1-0, and then just bench continued to as well have a decent year, as always. And I think that's his last year. Graham as well. He doubled the center in the 6th inning in that first one. And then Hayden Dunhurst, you always forget about him. He is the one other name that we've known since Chardonnay left. And who am I thinking of? Blonde hair. He played second base.
He had like the ramen hair?
Or no? Yeah. Oh, it started Anthony Servideo. That's who it was.
Okay.
Yeah. Hayden Dunhurst was the last guy that I remember from that Servideo era besides Tim Elko.
I thought you were going to talk about like Thomas Dillard. Like that man was an absolute unit.
Okay, that was back in 2014, and Thomas Dillard was an absolute tank because he had Graham Caker. Who else did he have? He had crap. Now I'm forgetting. I remember that team so well. Obviously not. We're not spitting facts today.
Obviously not. I remember that team so well, but I don't remember any of them.
I remember like 2 players. A fanboy. But as of right now, we'll give you a score update as well. Top of the 8th inning in Corvallis. 4-3. Auburn still trying to give number 3 national seed Oregon State a scare. And I mean, I do kind of want to talk about this as a base hit goes through the right side of the hole. It's going to be irrelevant when this time comes up. But I mean, still,
we're going to be talking. Oh, live, yes. Whoa! And then something else random happens. Oh, okay.
But no, Auburn had a pitcher come in who was absolutely blowing it out. Skipper, he comes in 2 innings of relief and shuts down 5 straight. Struck out 3, and that sucks for Oregon State because they were facing a righty the entire game. Who also Barnett, who came in 4 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, but he was also on short days rest. The last time he pitched was against UCLA in the regional and had 10 strikeouts there. Did exactly what they needed for Auburn tonight so far. And then last night, Oregon State got the show of the regional tournament for them. I'm going to take a look at his name because at the moment I'm struggling to remember his. It was like Jeheni, but he's the second, or he's on the list for Golden Spikes, as well as Ivan Melendez and Ballard, I think, or Pena from Georgia Tech. So as we keep talking here, I'm going to look up the name so I don't get it completely wrong.
Yeah, and
Mikey
another
will call
player.
me.
Yeah, another. He'll just be like, nope, wrong.
Nope, wrong.
But Oklahoma also had their shortstop. I just love to hear the announcers talk about him because, like, he's a really good player, like great in the field, good bat, and all this kind of stuff. But they talk about like his frame because he's very skinny. So they talk about they're like 180 soaking wet, like. His jersey hangs off of his body. Like, he's just talking about all this, and I'm like, he's still a great player. Like, this is great about baseball. It's like it doesn't matter really what size you are. Like,
all right, just because I'm curious, man. I do actually want to look him up and see how big he really is. He's the shortstop. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Oklahoma's starting shortstop.
Infield. I got an infielder who's 187. I got an infielder who's 180. I got an infielder who's 180. Do you remember the number at all?
I can't. Hold on. I'm gonna look up.
Good Lord.
Did you get your other stat that you were looking at?
Oh yeah, I did. I think I just no, I didn't lose it. No, but Jerby, that's what it is. Jerby, he's 11-2 on the year, but last night, and apparently he was not feeling good at all, according to the announcers, because I got back to watch a little bit of that game last night, but I watched some of the closing outs of the afternoon. But Jerby went 5 2/3 pitched, 3 hits, 3 runs, all 3 were earned, but he had 2 walks, 6 strikeouts though. Got a standing ovation as he comes off the field, and he got a curtain call. So potentially he was Pac-12 Pitcher of the Year. He's looking to be on the Golden Spikes Award, but he has 161 strikeouts so far this season. Man is absolutely dealing. No wonder he's on the Golden Spikes Award. Why do I have NASCAR pulled up? I have no idea. That was the weirdest thing I think I've ever said in my life. Why do I got NASCAR? Oh, boy. But no, I mean, still, this entire regional tournament was just insane so far. And we still have a week left in Omaha. But where do we want to break down next? Do we want to go A&M or do we want to go Arkansas and North Carolina? Because poor old North Carolina got walked off and Texas A&M walked off Louisville. So pick your poison, buddy.
Well, I just found who it was. His name is Peyton Graham. He's 6'4", 171 pounds. I just looked up. I was like, okay, who's the Oklahoma shortstop? They named him as a finalist for one of the awards, and that's him. But yeah, he's honestly been tearing it up. So there you go. There. Yeah, which one do you want to hit on next? I'm all for.
I kind of want to hop into Arkansas because I thought North Carolina was going to be able to hold off Dave Van Horn. But apparently his Razorbacks and Pig Suey have another friggin' plan. As that game, I was able to watch a little bit of that Super Series every now and then while I was home and just kind of before we left or when we got back as well. But North Carolina in game 1 fell short 4-1 to Arkansas, and then it was 3-3 going into the 9th inning, and then all of a sudden here comes Pig Suey and decides to get, I think it was bases loaded or something like that, but they got a walk-off single to win it and send the Pigs to Omaha for another year. So 11th time in school history, Arkansas is coming back.
Yeah. And
impressive.
Man, I tell you what, those Hogs fans, they travel well.
Oh, yeah.
They were all up in North Carolina's dome.
Oh yeah, well, and I mean that's the bad thing though too is Chapel Hill is a very fun environment for college baseball, but then when you add Arkansas into the mix, who the last couple of years has hosted a regional in Fayetteville, prior to this year, I mean Fayetteville's a whole different animal.
Oh yeah,
and LSU is always one of those teams that I love seeing in Omaha because they travel so well, they're so nice, but Arkansas. Granted, they can be a little obnoxious at times with the hog calling and everything, but they are nice as well. They travel super, super well. So Omaha, we're as I speak as an Iowan now, I guess. But Omaha's happy to
Whoa.
have him back. Yeah, I know.
Whoa.
Don't even.
Oh, man. You do that. You like Texas. It's unbelievable, Nick.
I know. It's amazing that I even have a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprise us all.
Yeah, I know.
You're a good-looking kid, but kind of weird.
I got a face for a podcast radio.
There you go.
Breaks. No wonder my camera shuts off. It breaks every time.
It's just like, all right, that's enough of that. We're gonna.
It's like, all right, he has horrible jokes that tries to be too daddish and looks like a freaking chump.
Damn.
Get his fugly ass out of here. Nah. Hey, if you can't joke about yourself, then why are you even breathing, man? I guess, huh?
Right. Absolutely. The other, just moving back to college.
Moving on. Back to
Texas A&M, the first team to punch their ticket.
Yeah.
They look good against Louisville.
They really did.
And that was a low-scoring affair in both games, honestly, compared to like literally every other game where it was like double digits.
I know, and that was shocking to me because Texas A&M's offense was incredible this year. Was able to put up a ton of runs on teams, but like you said, first SEC team to make the tournament just in general, and now at the moment, Auburn looking to be another one, but there's 3 SEC teams in there now. There's 2 Big 12, 1 ACC, and then potentially could be 2 Pac-12s, but if Oregon State holds off. But anyways, I was actually shocked to see that there was a game or a series that went 2-0. And I did not think it was going to be Texas A&M and Louisville because they were both close games.
It was going to be Tennessee, right?
Yeah, honestly.
That's what I thought
Tennessee
too.
was going. But 5-4 on game 1, and Texas A&M struck early that game. Louisville decides to put up 3 in the second, and then it was just a back-and-forth game. Texas A&M gets 2 in the 7th, and then a walk-off win in game 1, and then you throw it all the way to game 2 the next day, and it was just a totally different story. Louisville jumps out first, Texas A&M comes, and then puts 2 back up, and then was able to get 2 late inning or 1 6th inning run and then 1 7th inning run to put them ahead 4-3 after Louisville scored in the 5th. And I mean, I think that was the story for all of college baseball. As soon as teams were getting runs, there was an answer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you couldn't find a team this year that was just going to get until it was late, and it was those couple of last games where it was like, okay, we're really getting beat down here. But I mean, if there was a testament to it, Arkansas and Oklahoma State, Stanford, to get to where they were, to get to UConn after we got off the podcast last week. I turned on the Texas State game. It was 3-1 going into the bottom of the 9th. First pitch, bomb. 2 pitches later, bomb. Stanford has tied it. I mean, answers were everywhere.
Yeah,
in college baseball.
I agree. All right. Well, does that cover all of our super play?
We had Stanford and UConn. And UConn made it close UConn made a run in game 1, and I was excited. And Rob, my dad, we were out in Milligan, and we were watching that game. And as soon as UConn's final went off, we were pumped up and we were excited because it's like Stanford's a great team, and they're making another trip.
You want to see a change?
Oh yeah, I want to see an underdog, and I think, and as crappy as it to say, I would like to see how far Oklahoma goes, just because of how the run that they closed out the year on. Notre Dame is another great Cinderella story at the moment. And then obviously I think the biggest one that you have this year is Ole Miss, just because of their record and everybody's saying they shouldn't have been here. And they got into the tournament off a bluff. And then now look at what they did. And it's the same with Notre Dame. I mean, Notre Dame should have probably been a host and a top 60 national seed based on their schedule and based on their wins. And then they dropped in the ACC tournament. So that explains why. But at the same time, it was an interesting field this year.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I did. I hope I didn't put that on. And right now we have 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning, still 4-3. Auburn, 14th national seed, playing number 3 in Corvallis. So,
all right. Well, we can take a break briefly here, and then I'm going to go get the big board whipped up. I'm ready to go.
Big board.
And then we are going to predict not only the gamers. The words are hard. I think I had like a minor stroke on that. Um, but we are going to predict who is going to win the College World Series. We're going to
We
play
will
it
have a
out.
new one this year.
Yep, we're going to play it out from first game on.
Oh, good Lord.
Yep, and we're going to be wrong. And next year, I think we should make a bracket kind of like March Madness. So we got to start at 64 and then have it all picked and then have it like every single one picked. So not wait to
Just
week.
collapse.
Because Notre Dame
I would really enjoy that.
would have absolutely wrecked all the brackets this year.
To me, that was the USMBC or US BMC or whoever it was against Virginia back
UMBC?
in, what was that, 2015. Yeah, UMBC. In 2015 or 2016, it's against Virginia in
St. Peter's
March
this
Madness.
Year too. They played kind of
St.
wild
Peter's
card.
this year. But I mean, to me, this was and it didn't happen early on because if Tennessee would have lost in their Knoxville regional, I think everybody just would have been even
worse.
I would have laughed just because. I mean, but nah, they were in a tough region when you actually like consider Georgia Tech and maybe Campbell. But at the same time, it was like Tennessee was expected to just plow through and expected to get here. And then I honestly thought Texas Tech was going to be that team to potentially give them a run after Georgia Southern got eliminated. So,
yep, I agree. Again, I will have to tweet out after this is over. But now we have our teams are set.
It is official.
We have our 8. We have Texas, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Stanford, Ole Miss, and Auburn.
Last but not least.
Again, I have to tweet out congratulations to Auburn from our account. Again, follow us on at Homaha Pod on Twitter and TikTok. Just a little shout out there.
Sir.
So we're going to start with our picks. And again, we can be completely wrong, and you just get to watch us be idiots. Or you watch us be geniuses. Again, I'll have to count out the final tally for all of our picks so far. Again, that'll be another tweet. But yeah. So let's go ahead and get started at the top. So Texas and Notre Dame. We're going to pitch Mikey's picks first. He had Texas winning this game.
So I would agree on that.
All right. Let's do that. Nick.
I would love to see Notre Dame try to power through, but unless Texas finds a way to go cold, oh my gosh, my fan's still on. I just realized that. I apologize for the audio here. And my door's still open. Good Lord, Nick's an amateur on the day. All right, we got to close. But, no, I think if Texas's offense stays as hot as it is, their defense is more than willing to win a game. They've got a good bullpen as well. So, I think, oh, gosh, just kick my camera around here too.
I don't know. I think Texas coming off of an ECU opponent and Notre Dame coming off of a Tennessee.
Very fair.
I got to go with Notre Dame for this one.
Really?
Just kind of a little random wrench in the plans. Because I'm just saying, like, off of strength of opponent and how they looked facing those opponents, I got to tell you, if you can keep a Tennessee lineup down enough that you can score more runs, I think they can do the same thing with Texas.
All right. I do see the point there as well.
All right, the next game we got is Texas A&M and Oklahoma.
Ooh. What's Mikey got?
Mikey has Oklahoma winning this game, so that would advance. So Texas and Oklahoma will play each other in the winners round, and Notre Dame and Texas A&M will play each other in the losing round.
Wow, that's a very – oh, man, I really don't know who I would have in this because you know what? I kind of want to go with Mikey as well. I want to see if Oklahoma can keep the fire going. I know Texas A&M has had a really good year, 42-18 on the season, but Oklahoma has decided to just power through, losing one game throughout the regionals and super regionals coming in from the conference tournament, and Texas A&M has done the same. So it should be a pretty even matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. Oklahoma, I feel like, has gone strong, and they'll continue to go strong in the postseason. So I'm gonna have to go with them as well. No disrespect to Jim Schlossnagle
and the Aggies. Yeah, no kidding.
Again, being just fresh into that program too, and doing the things that he's done is very impressive.
Oh yeah, and I mean, just considering the fact that this Texas A&M team has still competed throughout the entire year, and they've been nonstop. I just think Oklahoma's starters have been really, really good, and that's the key of getting them the wins that they have is the starting pitching to get them deep into games, and Oklahoma has been able to do that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay. So looking ahead, so between Texas and Oklahoma, Mikey has Texas losing that game. Okay, so they would then fall to the elimination game, and then he has in his losing game the Notre Dame Texas A&M. He has Texas A&M winning, so Notre Dame goes 2-Q in this style of bracket. So he has Texas A&M playing in an elimination game.
Texas A&M playing in an elimination game.
Yeah, so your choices, so you got to pick a winner between Texas and Oklahoma. The winner of that game would go immediately to the semis, and then you got to pick – so obviously who would lose that game would go to the elimination against your winner between Notre Dame and Texas A&M.
I got to go with Texas still. They won the regular season against Oklahoma 2-1.
Okay, so
they looked very good against them as well. 7-1 in game 1, 12-8 in the second game that they won in game 3. Yeah.
So that means you'd have Oklahoma in the elimination game.
Against A&M again?
So you're thinking as well Notre Dame's going to go 2-Q.
Yeah.
Team that takes down the number 1 seed. Both you guys, the team that takes down the number 1 seed is
I just
pooch it when they get here. Gonna crack the bed.
Well, here, let me take a look. Let me dive into some numbers.
I'm gonna make you double guess it because Mikey's is already set, so I can't really, and I probably couldn't convince him otherwise, anyways, because he's very stubborn. So I feel like he would have just been like, "Yep, that's what I picked."
Yeah, he's just gonna go all for it.
Very set with it.
Yeah. So, in kind of looking at stat lines here, both teams very even on the offensive board. Both teams hitting 294 on the year. Fielding percentage, Notre Dame has slightly a better fielding percentage. I think the one thing that I do really like about Notre Dame, though, was the bullpen. And I mean, looking at Texas A&M as a team total, their ERA is 4.71. They're giving opponents 6 runs within a game, but on average this year, compared to Notre Dame, who is a 3.95. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Notre Dame. I'm gonna say A&M kind of rode the luck, and they're going 2-Q.
All right.
Wow.
So that bracket.
Good Lord.
Sure.
Texas A&M just shocks both of us and says that they're gonna win.
Or no, you had. Hold on, I messed this up. So you said between Notre Dame and Texas A&M. In that elimination game, you have Notre Dame now coming out of there?
Yep.
Okay. That's on me.
Because the one thing that I really like about Oklahoma, too, is their run game. They've been stealing a lot of bags this year. And so I think that that's going to be a huge key for them because I know a lot of teams don't steal a ton in the postseason, but as soon as they get to Omaha, stealing is just outrageous at times. So I think Oklahoma's got the chance to do it.
And then who do you have winning that elimination game to go on between Oklahoma and Notre Dame to play in the semis?
Rematch of the Red River.
So Oklahoma again?
Yeah, I'm going to give a rematch of the Red River.
All right. I got it. Now I got to figure this out. I got to use big brain now. Okay. I think
I'm going to look. While you're figuring that out, I might switch my pick here. I'm going to look at Oklahoma real quick. Just keep doing you.
All right. Well, I'm gonna continue to talk as you do this.
Go for it. Break it down
I think
for us.
Oklahoma and Notre Dame. Okay, I have those two playing in that winners game. I think Oklahoma takes it. And then who did I have? So I have Texas and Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M gets out of that.
So Texas goes 2-Q.
Texas is 2-Q.
Wow.
Horns down.
I will say anytime that I pick high on Texas, and I think that a lot of people do, they come to Omaha and they decide they'll lose the first game And then within the last, I think, like 3 or 4 years that they've come to Omaha, they will either go 2-Q or lose the first game, get to the championship semifinal or get to the semifinals and lose before the championship series. So that's actually very accurate.
Okay, so I have Oklahoma advancing. So Notre Dame is going to play Texas A&M. I got Notre Dame coming out of that.
Man, looking at that whole side of the bracket, I think Texas has the highest like batting average as a team, because at both or all three, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Notre Dame are hitting 298 as a team. Texas is hitting 318 as a team. I think Texas has the highest batting average in the CWS right now. They have, going down through the line, they have Ivan Melendez hitting 396. You got Murphy Staley, who's hitting 375. Skylar Messenger, who's hitting 329, and then you got Douglas Hodo, who's hitting 319. Trey Faltini, who's hitting 286. I mean, that's just a solid freaking lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord.
All right, and then who do you have taking your semi on this side of the bracket? You have Oklahoma and Texas playing Texas. So Oklahoma would have to beat them twice.
I say Oklahoma takes a game, but Texas wins overall.
Okay.
So Texas does not win out until the championship game. Texas loses one game and then has to battle back, but they lose in the semis.
Okay. So for that one, Mikey has Texas A&M and Oklahoma. I'm pretty sure. Again,
okay.
We could get on the next episode and be like, you screwed my entire bracket.
Just watching Josh right now, too, on the Zoom.
Yeah, so he's got Texas A&M and Oklahoma. He actually has Texas A&M beating him 2 consecutive games and going to the championship.
Impressive.
I have Notre Dame and Oklahoma. I have to say again, I'm probably going to look back this bracket and be like, why did I decide this? But, it is what it is.
That's everybody. Everybody also does that in March.
It's going to go to a third game. Oklahoma takes it.
There you go. So everybody has a different pick on that. That's impressive.
I'd say Notre Dame's bats come alive, and I think they can do it. All right, going to the other side of the bracket, we got Arkansas and Stanford in the first game. Mikey has Arkansas winning that game, so that would advance them to the winners and Stanford into the losers bracket.
See, as much as I would like to ride the wave of Pig Suey, I'm going to have to go with Connor Huff and the Stanford Cardinal. I mean, the way that they can produce runs late in game and just an absolute stud of a lineup in the Pac-12. So I got to go with Stanford, number 2 national seed. Also, now the highest national seed left in the overall, just in total highest national seed in the tournament. There's 2, 5, 9, and 14. Everybody else, non-nationals. So half the bracket is national seed, half the bracket is not.
That's kind of crazy.
It's fun though. That's what makes college baseball so fun. And I said this on Twitter. I think when it was East Carolina or somebody in the regional, I quoted a tweet and I said, college baseball remains unbeaten when it actually comes to this last 2 months. It's almost even better than postseason pro baseball. It's just so fiery and it's just competitive. And
it's just the fact that there's so many teams that could just make a run at it. Usually in the pros, it's okay, these kind of top teams are gonna be the ones that compete. But yeah, I got to go with Arkansas winning this game though.
All right,
full transparency on that one.
We just might as well call an episode at one point full transparency. We say that word more times than I think I've ever heard it said.
Well, yeah, Mikey starts saying it, and then we've been hanging out, and I start saying it, then we start saying it on the pod. It is what it is.
He gaslit us into saying it. And that's where we're gonna get. That's where a lot of our listeners are gonna set drop. Like, you're making fun of gaslighting?
Get out of here. Nah, they can suck it for all I care. if you listen to this podcast, we've probably gaslighted you into believing some things that aren't true at all.
AKA Nick for saying
saying
wrong.
random stats out of the blue is, by the way, did you guys know that Tennessee has hit more home runs than any professional team has ever? Wow.
I probably would say
you probably could.
shit
And you could probably get some people to believe it. All right. Ole Miss and Auburn securing that last spot.
Oh man, this is where I really like to see the fireworks go because SEC play. Give me one sec here. Let me pull up the good Ole Miss Rebels just to see how the series went. I think Auburn won the mid-year series or like the year series. Yeah, Ole Miss took it. Wow, but it was close games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to go with Auburn. Actually, their bullpen in the supers and throughout the regionals was just absolutely insane. You have two guys come in that shut down 6 straight batters before giving up a home run in the 7th earlier today, and then pitching change shuts them down for the last half of the game. Auburn's bullpen was electric, so I'm gonna have to give it to them. And beating the number 3 national seed. So.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to go against you guys, and I'm gonna say Ole Miss takes that game. I don't know what it is. And again, I could be like blatantly wrong on all my picks.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is about seeing those powder blues in the postseason.
They haven't done well. They don't do well when they get to Omaha.
Some years, but I just don't know. I think they could electrify in the first round at least. Coming off of, and they still have that mentality of be here. Okay, but then once maybe they've established themselves a little bit later in the series, they start running a little bit lower on pitching, all that kind of stuff. Then I could see them struggling. But for that, the time being, I have that. All right, and then this is the tricky part again. So, just writing in initials. Okay, so winner of Stanford versus Auburn for you. Okay, the winner of that game goes to the semis. The other one goes to an elimination game.
Winner of Stanford Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Stanford Auburn. Who did Mikey pick? Oh,
Mikey had Auburn advancing to the semis, and Arkansas then lost that game. So he had Arkansas winning.
I'm gonna have to go with Stanford.
All right, so Stanford goes to the semis.
Yep, hitting was really crucial for them, and I think Auburn's bullpen will do good, but not enough against Stanford. Although the bullpen is better for Auburn, I think Stanford's going to get all their runs early. And that's what's crucial for them is getting runs early.
All right, and then who do you have winning your loser game? So the elimination game between Arkansas and Ole Miss.
Oh boy, I think I'm probably going to have to go with Pig Suey on that one. I think Ole Miss in Omaha has not been a friend. I think they had a great team this year, but they just struggled. And Arkansas let them have it earlier in the year. So I got Pig Suey.
Right. Okay, so for my winner for the earlier game between Arkansas and Ole Miss, I think Arkansas takes that one. And then, so that means Ole Miss.
I'm looking at this. I'm watching you write this bracket down, and I'm actually like very impressed at how you put it down. And you'll see it on the screen when I'm talking about it. But it's just like I'm kind of like following it, but I'm not. It's like the ACC all over again.
See, I learned brackets.
Full play.
Good brain. This is honestly pushing all of my brain power.
I was gonna say
I am like this close to losing sanity.
It's gaslighting your mind.
Yeah, am I gaslighting myself into being able to read brackets?
Pretty much. No, you're gaslighting yourself into not being able to understand it and calling yourself incompetent.
What? No,
I turned that so dark.
I'm an idiot. You're stupid.
You're all idiots,
but I'm dumb. All right. So then Stanford and Auburn. I think Stanford goes 2-2. Auburn comes out of there. We get to the first round. And this time Auburn again, well, we can pick this. but I was just going to roll right into it. Auburn takes it the second time that they face Ole Miss. So you see what I'm saying? Like they ride momentum coming in, then start to slow it down just a little bit, and then I think Auburn takes it.
So Auburn goes into your semis, and they have to beat Arkansas twice.
Twice, yeah.
Is that way? Okay.
You have Auburn and Arkansas. Whoever wins that one has to beat Stanford twice for you.
I'm going to go with Auburn as well. I'm going to beat a dead horse here, but I like the bullpen.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying is they have some good lefties in there.
Oh, yeah. They brought out – that was the big thing. They had 5 lefties getting ready to face Oregon State's all 5 lefties, and any pitcher that they brought in during the regionals was lights out.
Mm-hmm.
So – now we got the championship.
Well, you got to decide who makes it there. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So you got Auburn with 1 loss, playing Stanford with no losses.
I want to do it to them. I want to do the same thing that I did to Texas. I think Stanford gets one taken away from them just to ride the momentum, and then Stanford goes on. I don't think any team is safe to get into the championship series 2-0 this year. I really do not.
That's fair. But again, we had Texas A&M in the supers. They did it. They did it without a loss.
I know.
I'm going to disagree with you with that. I think Arkansas gets there, no losses. I think they beat Auburn because I think Auburn just runs out of gas. That's the same thing we're kind of seeing across here. Is I'm thinking that if Stanford doesn't tally early, they can tally late, but with the amount of stellar again, because they would in my mind they have to face Ole Miss, which Ole Miss can put some balls in play.
Yeah.
Or no, that was wrong. Arkansas, same thing though. They're very scrappy.
Oh yeah,
very scrappy team. So they'll play that, but then Auburn will then, if they lose that first game to play Stanford in a elimination game, I think that their bullpen they can spare no pitching then, and I think that's what gets them.
Well, I think this honestly even goes back to last year's CWS. NC State saved so much pitching that when they got to Vanderbilt, I think that was if they got to play that game, Vanderbilt was kind of running out of gas because they had to go through the elimination. They had to use the bullpen, but at the same time, Jack Leiter was able to save as much as possible to get through, and that's when Mississippi State took the series was because once they got to the bullpen, Vanderbilt was gassed. They beat Rocker, they beat Leiter, and then now Mississippi State was on a roll. So I think it's going to be the same thing this year is whose bullpen gets gassed first. You're going to ride a wave as much as you can. So, and I think Stanford is just one of those teams this year as well that was able to play small ball, but they've got consistent hitters that can just string together innings. And long innings are going to be tough for teams. So,
all right. Well, you don't want to know something funny?
What?
All 3 of us have 2 different teams in the championship.
Yes. Mikey called us out last week.
2 out of the 3 of us will be wrong come end of the tournament.
Well, I was going to say, who out of the 3 of us is going to be wrong and win, but who out of the 3 of us, or could all 3 of us just get completely derailed here?
Bamboozled. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All 3 of our picks go 2 and Q. Well, no, that wouldn't happen, but all of them get eliminated.
Oh, that would be
the championship series.
That would be insane.
All right, so Mikey has Auburn taking it against Texas A&M. You have Stanford.
I think Texas would be looking for their 6th title. Stanford, I don't know how much they would be looking for. Boy, this one might be tough. You know what? I'm
going to choose Texas.
No, honestly. I'm going to pick
Stanford.
Because
you heard it here first, Horns Down by Nick Hendricks.
I'm not going to say horns down, but I'm going to
just said
say
it. Get wrecked.
Well, no, Texas is gonna fall short just because they can't pull through in the championship game. The last time they were there was 2005 against LSU, and they lost it, or 2006 against LSU and lost it. No, 5. Fuck, words are hard.
All right, so you have Stanford. I would love to see Oklahoma do it, just so we could have for the first time ever.
That would be so cool.
But I gotta go with Arkansas.
Wow.
Like Pig Suey. They've just looked good. They've just
So
looked good to me.
so we all three picked two different teams of the championship series, and we all three picked three different champions. So, Mikey, you can no longer call us out like you did last week. We all were different, bitch.
We all chose different ones. That is perfect, though, that we didn't have,
Oh, my God, yeah.
and we all had, like, justifications for our stuff. But, yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, it is going to be a good series. And I'm excited. Like, I'm excited to see now that we have, especially having those big national seeds get knocked out.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's like free game for anybody at this point. I think all eight have a very, very good chance of winning it this year. There's no team where it's like, oh, they have it in the bag, like everybody was saying Tennessee did.
Well, and so to look at how this kind of lined up, because we're talking about the national seeds, and it's funny. So Tennessee, number 1 national seed, made it to the Supers. Stanford, number 2 national seed, made it to the Supers. Oregon State, number 3 national seed, made it to the Supers. Virginia Tech, 4, made it. 5, Texas A&M, made it. Miami was the only well, not only. Hold on here.
6 and
Gotta
7.
Yeah, 6 and 7 did not make it. So Miami didn't make it, and then 7 was let me find it. Words are Oklahoma State. So two of the top national seeds did not make it into the super regionals. And then the teams that made it into the super regionals, besides in the top 5 of Stanford and Texas A&M, got drilled. And not really drilled, but they got drilled out. So that's insane to actually see how much college baseball can fluctuate once you get teams in here and they start getting hot.
Well, yeah, and who is the team that knocked out that Miami? Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Who was the team that knocked out that Oklahoma State team? Arkansas. So, yeah, you have those really good SEC opponents. And, yeah, man, it's just – it's a beautiful sight. Baseball's back in Omaha. Oh,
I know. And now I will say it pains me to not say TD Ameritrade anymore. It's at Charles Schwab Stadium. Yep, Charles Schwab. But no, FanFest, I believe, starts on Thursday.
Yeah.
Yep, so you can go see teams practice on Thursday. You can go walk around, see all the vendors that are out there, go talk to some fans, go have fun. I know every time that we did it as kids, we were talking with everybody. And then games start on Friday. Game 1 of the College World Series is Oklahoma taking on the 5th ranked national seed Texas A&M Aggies. That's at 1 p.m. on ESPN. And then game 2 of the College World Series is Texas versus Notre Dame, and that's Friday night at 6 on ESPN. So, and then just to wrap it up on Saturday for the first round of the tournament, it's game at 1, Arkansas-Stanford. That's Arkansas versus the number 2 seed Stanford Cardinal. And then game at 6 would be Auburn, Ole Miss. And then Sunday to be determined of the times, depending on who wins, who loses, and when those games are, just in general for the bracket. So, oh, man, I love this time. College baseball came, and we wanted to both – Josh put it in the ear of the idea of like, hey, why don't we start a college baseball podcast? And I was like, I would love to do it. The audience is very small, but I mean, shit, if you actually sit here and look at college baseball like it's been through the regional tournament, this audience is not small. You just got to be able to branch it, and Cronio Media is helping us with that because we'll be on Spotify, we'll be on Apple Podcasts, we'll be everywhere.
Absolutely, yes. And if you know of anybody else that is college baseball fans, okay, get them onto this.
Tag him.
But again, we got that rolling up. We'll talk probably next week on the championship series because we'll probably record before that happens.
I would assume so, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
if everything,
that week's going to be weird.
Yeah, if everything goes like according to plan, because that can get kind of odd around this time, and especially if there's any weather, because Omaha's weather.
There's not going to be a safe game. There's not going to be.
And like we said earlier, it's going to be blazing hot this week, so it's going to be hot.
So while you're dehydrating, make sure you rehydrate. Just kidding. We promote no drinking.
We promote all the drinking.
Yes. But make sure you hit it with that Flintstone gummies, though. Get those supplements in. We got to get a sponsor for the good old Dr. Lovin. So we'll throw out the
gummies.
And we're not sponsored by them. So
we need it.
Cranio, hit us up with the Flintstone gummies tagline.
Absolutely. So, but then moving forward into our postseason kind of play, we'll probably record every other week then, since things will be kind of cooling off. We're hoping to do a lot of interviews with people around college baseball and possibly some college softball. Yeah, but other than that, I mean, it's been fun. It's been real. This episode has been good.
Oh, yeah.
Excited for the weekend.
Also, on TikTok or on Twitter, or comment down below if you guys want a No Place Like Homaha after dark. We would be
find
not
us on the hub.
No,
love.
God, at some point you kind of gotta wonder. Yeah, you gotta wonder though what could possibly. Oh, we pause the music.
Pause music.
Pause music.
Yep.
Oh my God, no! I need to do that at the beginning of the episode since we don't have him. So I gotta go
pause the music.
I gotta go cut it out.
Yeah.
I gotta go cut it out of an episode, but
that works.
I need to go. I need to go find I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah. There's so many great sound bites by that man. It's bizarre. But yeah, so moving forward, again, we have been the No Place Like Homaha podcast. You obviously have found us on our YouTube page. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Again, just like Nick mentioned earlier, we are partnered with Cranio Media. So that means you can find us on all platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts from.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, we will catch you guys next week. Enjoy a lot of baseball this weekend.
Let's go.